Afternoon, everybody. Day 2 of Fight Week in Sheffield, ahead of a packed card on Saturday night, live on DAZN. 11 fights on the bill, topped by an all-Sheffield clash with £140 British title between Dalton Smith and Sam O'Maison. You see in there some of the names on the undercard as well. Chief support also at £140. The rematch between former 2-weight world champion Erica Farias and Sandy Ryan, who battled to an extremely close decision which went in favour of the former champion about 5 months ago. So those two will rerun it as well. Plenty of action further down the card. Big Jordan Thompson in a really tough scrap against Vassal Dutsa, who gave Crispin and Smith hell a few months ago as well. Johnny Fisher returns from injury too. Campbell Hatton on the card, and loads further down the bill as well. And we start at 4 o'clock as a result. Yeah. Darren Barker's train, which left at about 10 p.m. yesterday from London, got in about 20 minutes ago.
I literally could have got to New York quicker. That's not even a lie.
Yeah, I thought you were on the way to Ortiz-McKinson fight week. So, good to have you back. It was a struggle without you yesterday, mate.
Cheers,
I realised, actually, that you do bring something to the party after all. So, we had a lovely day in the sunshine yesterday, didn't we? Big day on Saturday, 11 fights on the bill, and a massive opportunity. Think about Kell Brook, almost from kind of your era of boxing, finally called it quits at the beginning of this year. There is a chance now for Sheffield to pave the way for a new star, and I think a lot of people are looking to Dalton Smith as maybe the man to be that star.
Without a shadow of a doubt, I think first and foremost, he's a tremendous fighter. I mean, what a talent. He doesn't really lack in any department bar experience, but that will come. But as far as boxing ability is concerned, he's got it all. He's got tremendous hand speed, his reactions, his footwork, his punch variation. He's a vicious, spiteful body puncher. And when he sniffs victory, 9 times out of 10, he'll get that stoppage. He'll get the job done. And I just feel that's the most important part about being a star. And I think everything else, personality, which he has, he's a lovely lad, he's happy, he's with his dad. There's every component there for like you say, for him to be the next star. And I think if you are a local lad or lady or resident of Sheffield, enjoy the ride, because it's going to be tremendous. Don't get me wrong, O'Maison's, this is his world title shot. He's going to give it absolutely everything. He's tough, he's rugged, he knows how to fight, but there's levels in this game, and I just feel, I don't know if it will be today that a star will be born, but there's certainly a star within Dalton Smith.
O'Maison, of course, from the English gym, spent 12 years there as a youngster, now coached by Ryan Rhodes, who, of course, was brought up in that golden era of the gym in the 90s. Ryan Rhodes, of course, was a British champion outright, won the English title with Sam O'Maison, so knows what it takes to win this title. Can he play a factor in causing what I think would be a fairly sizable upset in that main event? We'll hear from those two in the main event later on. We'll also hear from all of the fighters on the undercard. You can see people just taking their seats behind us in this beautiful Cutlass Hall, which we've been to before, actually. We do get to see some brilliant venues throughout our fight.
I just got told that I'm very old by Mason. Because I said, it's a lovely room, this, isn't it? And he went, you're so old.
When you start appreciating architecture, that's when you start when you start looking more home and wear stuff on the internet.
I just can't believe my portrait ain't up here.
It's lovely, yeah. We'll get one of you done, mate. We'll just sneak it on the plaques. So that's what's coming up. Jordan Thompson returns, as I mentioned, very tough clash for him against Vassal Dutsa. He had a really good scrap with Chris Billen-Smith. Bumped into Dutsa a couple of times. Big, solid guy, and looks like he's in very, very good shape as well. And I think that we've talked about how good Jordan Thompson looks, but of course he's been switching people off so early. He wants to show a little something over a few rounds, and I guess we're hoping that Vassal Dutsa can drag him into a bit of a fight.
He's a very good fighter. This is a statement. It's a statement if he stops Dutsa, who we see against CBS, very, very tough, rugged, he can punch. So if Jordan Thompson was to get the stoppage, it'd be a tremendous victory.
Great stuff. We've got 2 separate press conferences for you this afternoon. We'll hear from some of the fighters on the undercard, and then we'll switch over to the main event. The first set are ready, as is Eddie Hearn, so let's head over to him.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Sheffield. It's brilliant to be back in the Steel City ahead of a huge night of boxing this Saturday at Sheffield Arena. The next gen are here in Sheffield, the future stars of the sport. 3 big championship fights at the top of the bill, but so much young talent here. And the reason these cards are so exciting is because this is the future of British boxing. All these young guys looking to emerge, and ladies as well, for the championship fight with Sandy Ryan, to move to the next level, to start headlining big fights. And of course this weekend headlined by who I believe is one of the best young stars, not just in British boxing but in world boxing, in Dalton Smith. An all Sheffield clash for the British Light Welterweight Championship, live and exclusive on DAZN around the world. So much great young talent who we're going to speak to here. Junaid Boston, I'm going to start with you. Big card for you. You had a little moan because you said you're not on a chair, you're on a stool. You know, you and Nico got the stools on the end. This is the beginning for you. You're going to move to the chairs, then you're going to move to the tables, then you're going to move to the belts. But in Sheffield, so many people talking about you in boxing. Little bit of I guess, a hidden talent outside of the game, but second fight for you in Sheffield this weekend. Big night ahead.
Yeah, I'm a hidden talent, but hopefully after Saturday I won't be that. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you, Eddie. I've always known I'd be boxing at the arena at one point. Soon I'll be headlining. Right now it's Dalton's turn. Over the years, obviously, the gym's around the corner from the arena. I've always gone past it at the bus stop, and I've always thought, yo, I'm going to box here one day, I'm going to box here one day. And here I am, obviously, watching over the years, Kel, Barry, Nassim fights on YouTube in the arena. I've always thought, yo, I want to be here, I want to be here. And me and Dalton have always spoken about it, and here I am. I'm going to make the most of it. Got a decent opponent in a 6-rounder in my second fight, and I'm going to put on a very good performance.
Destined for this, I guess, grown through the sport. Saw a great clip of you with Kugan Cassius and Jordan Gill on IFL 8 years ago, talking about these kind of moments. You know, just a young boy then, obviously now a young man, but the start of your journey is underway. Great team in Grant Smith, Dalton Smith as well, of course, looking fantastic. Big night for him. And this is the future, you guys, the future of boxing in the city.
Yeah, I got wet water can. Obviously, growing up, I was the youngest and watching all the pros. I was paying £40 for a ticket. Believe it or not, Eddie, I don't know if you'll be happy about this. I was jumping over ringside, so I was getting ringside for 40 quid, so I'm all right with that. But yeah, obviously, look, the last time Kel boxed here, he had a media workout, and he said, look, he's the next big coming through. As big of a compliment that is, right now it's Dalton's time, and then soon it will be mine.
Well, good stuff. Thank you for your honesty. Frank, if you can just take that off the wages for Saturday, that'd be lovely. Nico, welcome. Third fight for you this weekend. Great professional debut on the massive Lee Wood against Michael Conlan card in Nottingham. Huge amount of tickets again sold for you. Keeping nice and active, and another big show for you to be a part of.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on. You know, it's a great opportunity to be on the Matchroom card again, and just looking to continue the progress and the learning and the momentum in my career. And like I said, keeping nice and active, taking good opponents, moving up to 6-rounders. You know, this will be my second 6-rounder now. So just making nice progress.
And obviously as well, rumours, I know that Lee Wood returning late September in Nottingham, a must for that card as well, all being well on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Good stuff. Nico, Kieran Conway, welcome. A run out for you on Saturday, but always a dangerous moment when a fighter with such a huge fight planned steps up in what is ultimately a run out. A massive fight for you, already signed Austin Ammo Williams on the Canelo Triple G undercard, September 17th. It doesn't get much bigger than that. So what's Saturday all about for you? Just getting through it, going through the process, running through the gears, sharpening up the tools, ready for that massive night against Austin Williams?
Yeah, basically, yeah, Saturday, I'm here fully focused on Saturday. There's no pushovers in pro boxing. The guy, he's coming here to win. He's coming here to put on a bit of an upset. So I'm going to be fully on my game. I'm not going to overlook him and look at Austin Williams. I've been training for this date, and I'm fighting on Saturday.
I know you're focused for Saturday, but I've got to ask you one question about that huge card in Las Vegas that you're fighting on. You had the pleasure, although be it a late arrival on the week due to travel issues, of fighting in front of what was 75,000 at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and Canelo against Billy Joe Saunders. This time Canelo against Triple G. Just another massive card, and all the experiences you gained against Sissoko are going to put you in great stead against Ammo Williams at the T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's massive. Being out there for the couple of days last year was just like open my eyes to the big stage. And I want that. I want to be there again. I said I wanted to be there. I said I was going to be there again. And now I've got the opportunity. I don't know how I've got the opportunity, but I've got it, and I'm going to take it with both hands. I'm going there to smash him. I'm going there to win. I'm going to shut everyone up. I'm going to shut him up.
You got the opportunity because you're willing to step up in those big fights. A lot of people aren't. You know, you went over, you fought Sissoko, you dropped him late on in the fight. You could have won that fight, and now that just shows you that a loss in a fight like that one fight back and all of a sudden you're back on that big stage. I think a lesson also to fighters that you've got to step up and take those opportunities when they arise.
Yeah, I don't know why people are turning down these sort of fights. This is, I think that, especially one with Austin Williams, I think is a bit of a hype job. I don't think he lives up to his hype. And I think that maybe I'm a little bit underestimated. I also, what right have I got to turn down these fights? I didn't come from anywhere, I came from nothing. I didn't do anything in the amateurs really. So I've got to make my way the hard way. I'll take fights. Whatever's thrown at me, I'll take that.
Well, got to win Saturday first, but a win in Las Vegas would be massive for your career on the world stage for sure. When we talk about great British prospects, Hopey Price for me, right up there. Slightly derailed with a little bit of injuries and illnesses along the way, but ready now in a tough fight on Saturday night, Hopey. Time to step up after this. We want you in big domestic fights as well, championship fights as well, but ready for a big start now to what will be a big finish to the year.
Yes, definitely. You know, it was a bit frustrating last time. You know, I believe I had a good performance in Alexandra Palace, and I was scheduled for a title fight in Leeds, you know, in my hometown. But I had a bit of an injury, but I've worked hard. I'm fully recovered now, and I'm going to put on another special performance, you know, come Saturday night, and I'm going to show all the other super bantamweights out there that I am here and ready to contest for these titles. You know, I look at Dalton Smith, and he's boxed for the British title in his hometown. You know, I believe I'm not too far away. I believe in a few fights' time, we can go to Leeds, maybe Leeds Arena, and pack the place out and box for that British title.
Well, it looks like Leeds Arena, Josh Warrington having to defend his IBF world title probably October, November time as well. So all being well on Saturday, big championship fight potentially scheduled there to close the year. Definitely,
you know, I look past no opponent, so I've got a tough fight Saturday night, but you know, I'm going to do the job and I'm going to do it in style. So after that, we can talk about it then.
Well done, Hopey. Aqib Fiaz, so good to see you back on the card after what has been a very tough year for you personally as well. Unbelievable amount of tickets that you've sold, both of you actually, coming over from Manchester at the weekend. Going to be a great crowd in the Sheffield Arena, but been a very tough period for you, and great to see you back in the ring on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a difficult year last year, but I believe what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I'm back here. I want to say thank you to you, Eddie, Matchroom, for having me back, you know, all my loyal fans, my sponsors. I'm here to make you all proud, yeah.
What's the plan now? Obviously, momentum is key in everything, and that's something you haven't been able to gain over the last 12 months. Is that the key for you now? Victory on Saturday, hopefully get out another 2 times this year, and really 2023 must be about championship fights for Aqib Fiaz.
100%, that's the plan. Let's get these couple of fights out of the way. Let's get active and let's get some belts in 2023, yeah.
Well, we'll stick with Manchester. Campbell Hatton, welcome, mate. I can't believe this is going to be your 8th fight on Saturday. It seems like yesterday you made your professional debut when you were panting after those 4 rounds in Gibraltar. That time, developed so much, improved so much, really starting to come into your own now as a pro now. And a very tough fight for you on Saturday night, an experienced opponent, and stepping up the levels now.
Yeah, it is a step up, and I think it's going to bring the best out of me, to be honest. He's coming in with a winning record, so he's going to have that ambition about him. And I think when you're fighting the sort of journeyman type fighters and they don't offer much aggressively, it's hard to get your work off and look good against them, whereas this guy's going to come to win and leave openings, and I think that's just going to work in my favour.
Obviously, you have been very active so far as well. This is 8, likely to be double figures by the end of the year, all being well as well. Are you feeling the benefit of that experience and that activity?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I think I've got all the ingredients you need to make it as a top fighter, but the one area that I'm lacking is the experience, and the only way to do that is by being active. And like you said there, hopefully if we could finish the year double figures and finish nice and busy, that'd be perfect.
Well, looking forward to seeing you back in the ring on Saturday night, as I am this man, Romford Bull, Johnny Fisher. Welcome. And we talk about huge ticket sales. We're expecting around 5,000 in there on Saturday night, which is huge crowd for a next gen. And about 1,000 of those will be travelling, not just from Romford, I guess, but Exeter and all over the country as well. After just an incredible run at the O2 Arena in Alexandra Palace, it's been a frustrating period out with your hand injury as well, but ready to get back to action in Sheffield on Saturday.
Yep, it's been a great year, my first year, 5 fights in, and I'm looking forward to getting started now in Sheffield. And yeah, it was frustrating, but it was also time to reflect and see how far I have come. I think back 2 years ago from this time now. I was just finishing university, not really sure what I was going to do, but now I'm here. I'm 5 fights in. This is my 6th fight, and I'm progressing all the time with my training team, my managers, and I just want to keep doing that, keep progressing. I'm among all these great fighters here, and I'm really proud to be among this crop of good talent here as well.
I know that a lot of people, when they get active and there's a lot of hype around their career, sometimes that little time out, although never wanted, can just give you a bit of chance to work on other stuff, to just think a little bit about where you're going in your career and learn in the gym. Has that been a part of your recovery process over those coming months? Not just lazing around, but being around the gym, improving on other things, and sort of, like you said, just taking everything in?
Definitely. I've had some great experiences for this camp. I've sparred a lot with Derek Chisora, Guido Vianello, another talented heavyweight coming up. And I've had loads of people with great advice around me as well. One of them people being Michael Watson, who gives me a lot of advice in the gym, in Origin. And I'm enjoying every minute of this journey. As we said from the beginning, I don't know how far I can go. I want to go to the top. I think I've got the potential to get there, but I'm very, very aware it's very hard to get there as a heavyweight, and moving up the ranks is going to be very difficult. But I've got the dedication, I've got the team around me, and I'm shooting for the best I can do, and the best I can do hopefully will get me to the top at some point.
Well, another step up the ladder on Saturday in front of a huge army of travelling fans. Thank you to this incredible young crop of fighters up here, Junaid, Hopi, Johnny, Campbell, Akib, Kieran and Nico as well. A lot of these fighters are going to go on to win Commonwealth, British, European and World Championship honours as well. So don't forget to tune in and watch some of the best of the British talent on Saturday night on DAZN. We're going to have a quick photo of these guys up here, and then we're going to move on to the championship fights. Over to Chris and Darren.
Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, well, we've heard from some of our undercard cast, and quite interesting to see a couple of the young Sheffield fighters from Grant Smith's gym, and actually Nico Lavazza, of course, we saw on his debut, looked really, really good, and he was out in Leeds not too long ago as well. Junaid Bostan, though, looks really, really good for me, and I hear some brilliant things. Sonny Edwards said possibly the most talented fighter that I've ever trained alongside, and he's trained alongside some good ones. If Dalton Smith is to pick up the mantle for Sheffield boxing, if he wins on Saturday, and he does become the next kind of star of the city that they want to base their fight nights around, he's not going to be able to do it alone. He's going to need an understudy of good young fighters to build on.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you said there, I'm hearing tremendous things about him. So yeah, he's another one of these crop that are coming through from Sheffield that are going to help build these undercards. You heard it there with Eddie talking about Josh Warrington and Hobie Price coming through and him being a future star one day. So it's so important. But I think for these guys is these opportunities on these big shows to showcase their skills and show the world what they've got.
There we go,
mate. I'll just gate crashing as I've been told to jump in.
You're always welcome, Big Johnny. And I don't think we're going to move you if you weren't welcome.
No, you're not
anyway. So nice to have you back. We were just saying yesterday how long ago Ali Pali seems, and obviously that was a big breakout night for you, big load of ticket sales, and I know you learnt a lot from that night, and you're growing every single sort of quarter of the year as a fighter.
Yeah, you do. And listen, if you go through boxing thinking you're going to knock everyone out in 3 rounds, it's not the case. You're going to have to come through tests. I came through a test that night, a bit of adversity with my cut, with my hand, and a game durable opponent. Without the cut in the hand, it still would have been a difficult night's work, because that guy came to fight and he'd been around the block. So, as you said, a great night, and it's just brilliant to be back here, looking around. Like, you do pinch yourself sometimes. I didn't think I'd be doing this 2 years ago. Honestly, I did not think that. I was working with my dad, selling meat off a van with him, and then just got the chance to sign with Jam and went from there, and we're just rolling and going with it every single day.
That the learning on the job is what you're doing. So obviously these fights on fight night are so important, but you just said there that the caliber of opponent you're sparring with back in the gym. Yeah. Tell us how that's helping you improve.
Oh, brilliant. To go and spar someone like Derek Chisora, who's been there, he's a warrior, who's been around the top crop of heavyweights for ages. And even doing 3-4 rounds with him, you can feel the experience, you can feel the pressure, and that's something that can develop you. Yeah. Even Fabio Wardley as well, done a lot of rounds with him. He was in a similar position to me in terms of he didn't have a lot of amateur experience, so rubbing shoulders with people with that experience, the people on the same journey as you, is great, and learning a lot of it can be done in the gym.
And I think the beauty there, you just named all of those different fighters, they all fight differently, and that's so important. For someone like yourself that doesn't have that amateur pedigree, etc., being in there with different styles, that must be really rubbing off on you.
It is, it's rubbing off, and learning off other people. You don't always spar them, but you see other people in the gym, you can learn off them. Other training, when you go to other gyms, you see how they operate, and it's brilliant. That's the main thing I learned from that was when I went to Tyson Fury in Sugar Hill, and you see a completely different setup there, and around Jordan Thompson at the time as well. Then.
I was just going to say, just seen him walk past and saw you chatting earlier. I
you just pick up different things from different people, and that's where you've got to be a complete sponge and just soak up all the information.
Yeah, and I know one thing we spoke about on the phone a few days ago, you just feel like you're relaxing into your role a little bit more. The early days, of course, coming out of obscurity, as you say, with great management, and then suddenly an opportunity with a big promoter, of course, is exciting, but what comes with that is pressure to prove yourself.
Yeah.
I get the impression from speaking to you that you're feeling a little bit less of that pressure, and you don't feel like you've got stuff to prove to people anymore.
No, that's exactly right. And I look at like the workouts I used to do, the media workouts. I thought, oh, I've got to look good on the pads, really sharpen up and show people. But now, the workout I did yesterday, people sort of know what I'm about, and I know I'm aggressive. They know I've got power. I don't have to show that to people. I've just got to focus on what I've got to do to prepare for Saturday night, and that's to win. And that's to win at all costs.
Good man, Johnny. Well, great to speak to you as always, mate. We wish you all the very best on Saturday. So that was some of our undercard cast on the undercard on Saturday night, and I think our main eventers are sat down and ready to go. Yes, they are, and Eddie Hearn is ready too. So let's head back over to him.
Well, welcome back to Sheffield. Obviously, we've just heard from a young crop of fighters that are going to progress to championship honours. Here we have another young crop of fighters that are ready to progress already to championship honours. Of course, Dalton Smith headlining this Saturday in his home city of Sheffield. Sandy Ryan in a must-win rematch against former two-weight world champion Erica Farias. And of course, Jordan Thompson, I believe one of the fast rising stars of the world cruiserweight division in a very tough fight, in his first championship fight against Vasil Dukar on Saturday night. We're going to start with that fight. Vasil, welcome.
Welcome too. Thank you.
You are a very tough man. Chris Billam-Smith, great fight. Richard Riakporhe, great fight. You go the distance with these guys, and you're in with another fast-rising British star and a big puncher on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I always said the boxing is my imagination. I wanna make a good fight, and when I jump in the ring and I see only my opponent, and I wanna show for everybody a good fight.
You're having to fight all these good fighters with very little experience in the professional game, but through that experience, you seem to be getting better as well. You know, as a young fighter, you've had to take these tough challenges, but they've improved you, they've given you more experience, you understand more about the game now, and I see the look in your eye to say that you feel confident this weekend.
Maybe, no with Chris Billam, maybe not in last fight, but one day one big victory for me coming, and maybe at Saturday, and I hope so. And I every day stay on my road and go step by step, and I still waiting for that.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you back on the card. Jordan Thompson, time to get real, I think, this Saturday. You know, you've had these opponents where you've been knocking them out in 1 round, 2 rounds. Perhaps this Saturday will be no different as well, but this time a real challenge in Vasil Dukar. We've seen him over on these shores before. Very tough, very game. Probably the perfect fight in your career at this time to tell us exactly where you are. You know where you are, but time to show the world where you are.
I think that's the thing. Like this guy, he brings a genuine threat. He's tough, he's durable, he's game. And I think other guys have come to see how long they can survive. I think and hope he's come to see if he can win. I think that's just going to bring the best out of me. And like you said, it's going to give me an opportunity to really showcase what I am truly about. And I can't wait to go out there and show the people that, have shown the love, support, really what Jordan Troublesome Thompson's about.
What you have been about is, as you say, artistic violence, those knockouts as well. Does that change when you step up the levels against opponents? We know you have dynamite in both hands. Everybody loves to see knockouts as well. Is that in the back of your mind, or as you step up these levels to championship fights as well, it's just about, obviously, securing the victory?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's always about the win, but I do have that added pressure on myself. I do want to go out there and look special. We're in an entertainment business at the end of the day, but I do have to, again, be mindful. I can't go out there and force it. But at the same time, if the opportunity does come, I'll be taking it with both hands.
Obviously, this one, an IBF regional title, likely to put you in the top 15 in the world as well. But we can't ignore the domestic scene as well. Great fight with Chris Billam-Smith and Isaac Chamberlain. Dion Juma there around, other British champions as well, floating around the scene. Of course, Lawrence Okoli, the WBO world champion as well. So many huge fights out there with Brits as well. But this kind of opens up the scene for you to look at those fights, but big international fights as well. You must feel that after this one more championship fight in 2022, and if we get through those successfully, 2023 will be the year for Jordan Thompson.
No, 100%. I mean, listen, the cruiserweight division is thriving right now. It has got fights left, right, and centre. There's some great talent. There's some great strength in depth. But like we say and like we know, I've got one focus, and that's this man across this stage right now. And on Saturday night, we'll take care of business, and then we'll deal with the rest after that.
Well, thank you, Jordan. It's a fantastic championship fight. Jordan Thompson, so explosive, so entertaining against a tough Vasyl Ducar. On Saturday night, we go on to this fight, the WBC International Welterweight Championship. Such a good fight. We saw this fight first time around. Sandy Ryan stepped up after only a couple of fights against former two-weight world champion Erica Farias in what was a brilliant fight in Nottingham Arena. Close fight. Erica came out on top. Of course, Sandy Ryan said straight away, we want to do that again. Locked herself away in tremendous shape for already at this stage in her career, which I guess, being brutally honest, is a must-win rematch. We go to Erica first. Erica, hello. With your translator here as well. Just a brilliant fight last time out. We saw the emotion from you through the victory, and ready, excited for what you believe will be another victory for a title on Saturday.
Hola, un saludo, bienvenido en Inglaterra. Ya vimos con el acontecimiento de marzo sus emociones con la grande victoria y cómo veis desarrollar este acontecimiento sábado.
¿Qué tal? Muy buenas tardes para todos. Muy contenta de estar nuevamente en Inglaterra. Como bien dijo Eddie, fue una gran victoria y la verdad que cuando me dijeron para revancha con Sandy Ryan, vi una revancha innecesaria porque claramente le gané con 3 jueces de locales y aún el referee descontándome un punto en el último round. Pero sí me sedujo mucho la idea de volver a pelear por un título y como siempre digo y sostengo que me entreno para títulos y así va a ser un gran espectáculo y me voy a ir nuevamente con la victoria argentina.
Well, yeah, thank you very much for the invitation, Eddie, much appreciated, and hello to everybody. I'm delighted to be back here in England. Yeah, it's going to be a big return. Obviously, having this rematch announced was essential. It had to be the case after the March showdown. Unfortunately, in that head-to-head, the referees deducted a point from me in the final round, which kind of skewed the result, in my opinion. It should have been a straight, not a split decision. But I'm very glad to be back here now competing for this title and hoping I'm going to put on a big show for everybody and take this title back to Argentina.
Thank you, Erica. Sandy, you look in tremendous shape. I saw a picture of you yesterday, just in complete transformation really in terms of the shape that you came in for that first fight. You know, you did miss the weight first time around. This time you look absolutely spot on in every shape and form. A massive fight for you. It's so unusual to see this kind of pressure at such an early stage in your career, but we're here and you've dealt with it very well. It looks like to me you've virtually come off social media, you've locked yourself away in a tremendous camp, and you look like you've done everything you can to prepare perfectly for Saturday.
Yeah, I have. I'd want to thank you for making this rematch because I wouldn't have wanted any other fight. And I'm just so ready for Saturday to put things right. My previous fights, you'll see, that wasn't me. Saturday night, this is the real Sandy Ryan.
How have you felt the pressures of the professional game? I was at the Commonwealth Games last night, and it was quite refreshing. Like, it was very nice. It was, you know, it was a real nice feeling around people about boxing. I guess that's not prize fighting. That's not fighting for money. That's fighting for the love of the sport. But that does change a lot when you enter the professional ranks. You get more criticism. You get more eyeballs. There is more pressure. It's more of a ruthless, cutthroat business. Have you found that in such an early transformation to the professional game?
Yeah, exactly what you said then. Like, the years I was on GB, it's like fun. You're going out, it's for fun really. You turn pro and it's a business. And I realised that early on in my career. And now I've learned how to deal with it. And it's put me in a great position right now, where I am right now, and ahead of Saturday.
People talk about the style matchup in this fight. First fight, you were very aggressive. You just came out and traded up with Farias all the time. She's all action. She never changes. People talking about you're going to have to box smarter in this fight. Obviously, you're going to have to probably do a bit of both, but prepared with Clifton for absolutely all eventualities during this fight.
Yeah, as you said, me and Cliff, we've prepared for either way because we know what she brings to the table. And yeah, you're going to see how much that I've respected her as a fighter because how hard I've trained and the shape I've got in. You'll see that Saturday.
Well, tremendous fight. Sandy Ryan against Erica Farias for the WBC International Light Welterweight Championship, as is this fight. This is such a great fight city. We've come here dozens of times over the years, you know, many moons ago, Johnny Nelson, Nazim Hamed, and more recently, Kell Brook, Kid Galahad. But in my opinion, this could well be the next star, not just of this city, not just of Britain, but of world boxing as well, in Dalton Smith. Sold a huge amount of tickets. As I said, it's going to be a fantastic crowd in the arena on Saturday night, live on DAZN. Samo Mason here, looking to upset the apple cart. I guess I saw an interview with you yesterday that was a tremendous interview where you sort of said, no one's really given me a chance. This is the Dalton Smith show, but you look in tremendous shape. You've experienced the ups and downs of the professional game as well, and just a glint in your eye to say, I'm not here to roll over on Saturday night.
No, not at all. I've been at it a long time. I've always been in background, I've always been in shadows, and if I'm honest, I've not had it the best at all. I've always had to be away in people's hometowns and travelling to Spain and places like that when opportunities have come up. And I'm not one of them, you know, if opportunity comes up, I'm going to shy away from it. Any opportunity comes up, I'm taking it. I'm not in game to pick and choose and I'll go this way, I'll take this route and whatnot. It's just a case of, you know, and something like this, a British title fight, I didn't even ask who it was. I just saw it, and I was just like, when, where's it happening? How long have I got to get ready? X, Y, and Z. Obviously saw it with Dalton Smith, and then it brings, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but when I left, I was at Ingle Gym for 12 years, and I left, and then I went to Grant's gym for around 2 weeks. I was training with a guy called Ian Grant, who were there. At that time, Grant he was only doing amateurs, and then I was just back and forth. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I had a meeting with Ryan, and we've progressed from there. We've picked up belts, and we've done what we've done. But I've always had, basically I've been in it a long time. So I'm at a stage now where this has come along, and everything's perfect, everything's fitted well. And I just feel I'm here for a reason. I'm not here by chance. So I'm excited. I was saying yesterday in one of the interviews, I'm a fan of this fight myself. I'd love to sit and watch it, but obviously I can't. I'm in it. But I can't wait, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's just going to be one of them cracking fights that could be one of them that's possibly go down in history, to be honest.
It's funny, because I remember, I think it was Ryan Rhodes used to message me all the time about you. You know, I think when you had 7, 8 fights, and you were massively avoided domestically as well. There was no one that really wanted to fight. You could punch, you know, you were technically very good as well, and you were coming through the scene, and no one really wanted to fight you. And in the end, you had to take those fights that probably, like you said, you know, before going out to Spain, that probably weren't the right choices for your career, but couldn't get the opportunity. And just a bit of a lesson as well to fighters taking chances, how things can turn around. On Saturday night, you're headlining in front of the world in Sheffield at the arena for the British title. It's an amazing turnaround of events for you, and you've hustled away at your career, and you deserve this opportunity.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's what I mean. I'm not here by chance. I've worked my arse off. And I always remember walking Kell Brook's British title to ring, and atmosphere were electric, and it was like buzzing from it. And I felt like I was fighting, even though I'm just there holding his belt. Got in ring, and I felt myself tunnel in, and you're going to sort of fight zone or whatever you want to call it. But then it's just to now think, you know, I'm there, I'm headlining it with Dalton. We're going to be going through same atmosphere, same how it is. And there might be more people there for Dalton. There might not be, it might be mutual, but when it comes to that, again, I'm not bothered, because I went to Spain, I had him spitting in the streets and shouting stuff at me and all sorts, against the guy who had bloody 23, lost 1, knocked out 22. But again, it's all learning, and I've come through. I've been at it a long time. I've learned, you know, the game, and as I've gone through it, I've been through good spells, bad spells, waves. And the thing is, I've just kept consistent. There's something in me that I can't think, oh, fuck it, I've had enough. You know? So I'm just at it. I'm at it. I've been consistent. I'm 31 now. I've probably got 3-4 years left, and it's just been consistent, keeping at it, and pushing on and pushing on and pushing on.
Well, good luck. Huge moment for you on Saturday night. As for you, Dalton Smith, I guess the pressure's on you rather than Samo Mason, the underdog in this fight. We're here for you. You know, Sean O'Toole, STN, those guys said, look, we want Dalton Smith to headline a Next Gen in Sheffield. I didn't think we'd do as well. I didn't think you'd sell as many tickets or we'd have as many people in there. It's an incredible turnout for what could be the perfect foundation for regular headline fights in this city, but a very tough test against Sam on Saturday.
Of course, obviously, you know, but there's no easy fights at this stage in your career in boxing, but, you know, obviously, you know, I'm overwhelmed by the support and how it's sold, and it's going to be electric on Saturday night, but, you know, I'm at a stage in my career now where, you know, you can look at the people I've boxed. I've not boxed no gimmies, you know, since first fight camp. Every single fight's been a real contender, and, you know, all I hear is, oh, you're in with Sam can punch this and punch. I've got more punches on I've got no more stoppages on my record than Sam, and you look at my opponents who I've fought, they've got more knockouts than Sam's previous opponents, so that, you know, that doesn't bother me. At the end of the day, it's just me and Sam in there. I've got that experience behind me, and on Saturday night, this is going to be like the homecoming for Dalton Smith, and, you know, this is what's going to boost my career to the next level.
Talk about that belt there, because as a fight fan, like, that belt is so important. Obviously, it's a British Championship belt, but so important for British boxing, so important, in my opinion, for the development of young fighters. If we had the perfect route, it would always be British Commonwealth European, or Commonwealth British European World Championship. But it's very difficult for very talented young prospects to get people to fight them for the British title. So great that Sam has accepted this challenge, but that belt is very important to win for a fighter, and becoming British champion in your home city on Saturday would be obviously the highlight of your career so far, but a very important box to tick.
Yeah, it's a big box to tick for me, because, you know, I've been a young fighter coming up, watching the past British greats. You know, Friday fight night used to be the British title used to be the main event, and, you know, that's the journey I've seen. You know, British, Commonwealth, European, and so on. And, you know, that's what I want to look back on my career, and I've won all those traditional belts. And yeah, you could say there's easier routes for me to take. I could go international routes, but, you know, I want to do it the proper way. You know, I look at the division I'm in, and I'm in probably one of the toughest divisions in boxing right now. So, you know, I want to do it right. I'm confident in my abilities. I know where I can go, and the British is one belt I'm picking up along the way.
Seems like a sort of old promotional trick to align a fighter to a football club, but a very successful one as well. And genuinely, your love for Sheffield Wednesday and their love for you as well. Yeah. It's been a tremendous tie-up. You've sold a huge amount of tickets, and it's going to be a special moment for you and the club to see you wearing those colours on Saturday and seeing the huge crowd in the arena.
Yeah, you know, this is what I've needed. And, you know, you see how the club's got behind me. You know, that's not been forced. That's because they wanted to do it. You know, they showed the love and support. But, no, not only the football clubs, all the Sheffield are getting behind me now. You know, and I think the show's seen for itself. You know, nearly 5,000 is going to be in there. You know, the atmosphere is going to be hostile. And, you know, this is what we dream of from being young kids. And I can't wait to be stood on that podium and soaking it all up. And, you know, this is what we dream of, and these are why we work so hard for nights like this. So, you know, there's no pressure on me, because I've wanted these nights since I was 5-6 years old.
Well, thank you, Dalton. A tremendous all-Sheffield clash for the British Light Welterweight Championship. Brilliant rematch, Sandy Ryan against Eric Afarias, and Jordan Thompson as well in his first championship fight against Vasyl Ducar, as well as, of course, the tremendous young talent that we saw beneath that as well. We're going to have head-to-heads up here now. The weigh-in tomorrow, of course, and the big fight on Saturday night at Sheffield Arena, live and exclusive on DAZN all around the world. Do not miss it. Some of the best young talent, and a chance for this city to see a young man regularly headlining in the great city of Sheffield. Thank you very much for attending. Over to the guys. We'll have head-to-heads up here. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, we'll see the fighters come head-to-head in just a few moments' time, and that is our main event, as we've heard from them for the last time before we'll see them in the ring on Saturday night. As I mentioned, 11 fights on the bill, starting at 4 o'clock on Matchroom Boxing's YouTube channel. Myself and Jordan Gill will be calling the first of the early fights. I think 5 of them in total. I'll be jumping on with you at 7 o'clock for Campbell Hatton, Jordan Thompson, and then you'll be joining Mike Costello for the other 3 that we saw on the bill. Good to hear from Sam Mason. We haven't heard a lot from him, and of course, he was absent from the sport for a couple of years during the pandemic. A lot of people think the inactivity could be costly for him on Saturday, but of course, what is at stake and a huge opportunity for him. He knows that upsetting this will take his stock to a completely different place.
Well, when you listen to him talk there, you realise and you remember this is such a big opportunity for him. He's not had it easy. Been in Spain, he's had it tough. He's not been on some of these huge shows. He's had to work his way to this position, and he's got there now, and he's going to give it absolutely everything. You can sometimes get caught up in the great technical ability of his opponent Dalton Smith, but yeah, it's a brilliant fight.
Well, I'll tell you what, I came out the lift today and walked straight into Vasyl Dutsar, and I don't think I realised how big a bloke he was. And I think you can see there Jordan Thompson is 6'7", and well, Dutsar, as you say, was in a hell of a rut with Chris Billam-Smith. Back and forth encounter, very, very close fight too. And Billam-Smith got through it, of course, the owner of all the domestic belts, and retained them in great fashion against Isaac Chamberlain for another brilliant fight. But knowing the kind of level that Dutsar's at, seeing the size, the physicality of him, and knowing how hard he punches too, and how good his chin is, any sort of stoppage for Jordan Thompson, early, mid, or late, would be a big statement, wouldn't it?
Huge statement. You see how hard he pushed CBS, like I said before. It'd be a massive win, Chris.
And it would be a big win for Sandy Ryan as well on Saturday night. Seems physically and mentally in a very different shape. We know that she missed the weight last time, came in at 144 pounds. But Erica Farias looking well too. And, well, Sandy Ryan knows what she got wrong that time. And Farias is determined there, just takes a step towards her to unsettle the young novice pro. But Sandy Ryan, I think, Darren, got a lot wrong in that fight. The question is, how much better can Erica Farias be? Because she did just about what she always does, but I think we got the feeling at the end of a very close fight that Sandy Ryan could have done a lot more.
Yeah, she's the bigger puncher out of the two, I believe. Sandy Ryan, obviously the experience lays with Farias. She was just busier than Sandy, and that's what it boiled down to. She was unlucky with the point deduction in the last round. She still got the win, and it set up a brilliant return.
I think Sandy Ryan stayed in front of her a little bit too long after those single jabs. Was just looking to be the bully a little bit too early, and maybe just sensing that she may drop the ego in this fight, box and move early, and then just try and stick it on a little bit later. Perhaps what she should have done in the first fight. But a really intriguing one in our chief support, and of course Dalton Smith and Sam Mason in the headliner. That is of course not them. That is young Hope Price on the left, as we heard, just coming back from injury that he sustained earlier on this year in against Alexander Mejia. And that will finish proceedings on before the bell. That one will be around about 6:30, I would have thought, hopefully taking us through sometime before 7 o'clock before we go live on the main broadcast on the Zone. And I think Eddie Hearn will be on a bit of a scouting mission by the sound of things, particularly for young Janae Bostan, who of course is a stablemate of the man on the left of the screen, and he will be hoping to be part of that supporting cast if Dalton Smith is successful on Saturday night. And speaking to Sonny Edwards yesterday too, part of that gym, he believes there are many big nights now for Sheffield to come as a result of this young crop in the Steel City gym. Absolutely,
and what a man they've got at the top of the bill, flying the flag, if you like. Dalton Smith, what a fighter he is, what a talent he is. But this man here, Sam Mason, this is his world title shot. This is his moment to shine, to prove all the hard work has been worth it. And I'm sure both local lads, the support is going to be tremendous. The roof's going to come off. It's a fight I'm really looking forward to, Chris.
We'll hear from Eddie Hearn. He's going to pop up and join us, I think, in 2 or 3 minutes' time. We'll try and get a word on what's being said between the two young fighters there. The Lonsdale belt just out of shot there. See it in the hands of Eddie Hearn, who will walk away. Oh, nearly left him hanging. Good lad, saw it at the last minute. Never like to see that, do we? So Dalton Smith hasn't really put a foot wrong so far, has he? 11 fights so far. We've seen him go the distance. We've seen him take people out early. We've seen him take people out late, composed, good shot selection. And all you hear from people in sparring, speaking to Jamie Moore, he's been sparring Jack Catterall, of course, a fellow southpaw. And Jamie said he equipped himself about as well as anybody has against Catterall, who is kind of the uncrowned champion of the 140-pound division. Eddie, the two came together there. Hi. What was being said between the two guys there? Could you hear much?
With Dalton?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was... they alluded to someone that was here and said, see so-and-so's here, him next, and Dalton went, for me, and Sam went, no, for me. So I don't know who's here.
Was that Casey Benjamin, perhaps?
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, maybe it is. Someone from the 140-pound division that's here. They both said they're fighting next. So it's a good fight, you know. I mean, you know, I've got to be honest, the guys at STN and Sean O'Toole said, look, we want Dalton Smith to headline in his home city. He's always boxed on the road, so it's very difficult to gauge the level of popularity of someone. But as the hype's built around him, and the people of this city, who are good, knowledgeable fight fans, have gone, do you know what? This kid could be something big for us. Because they're always looking for that star, whether it's Johnny Nelson, Naz, Kell Brook. Kid Galahad had a kind of chance and got beat, but Dalton Smith's like young enough, he's fresh enough, he's good enough to lead this city back to big championship fights. And,
big support.
And we've seen to do a 5,000 gate for a next gen show. It's really pretty impressive, and like the amount of tickets that he's sold. Obviously, you got Johnny Fisher's lot as well, but everyone's sold really well. But I just get the feeling that people are believers in Dalton Smith. We are, because we know the game. But the public are believing in Dalton Smith, and this is a massive chance for him. Like, I don't want to be disrespectful to Sam O'Mason, but he's got to go in there and give us a performance, Dalton Smith, where everyone goes, wow, this kid's the real deal. Because at the end of the day, if we're putting him up on that pedestal, we want to give him those big nights. We're saying this kid's the future of not just British and world boxing. You've got to be steamrolling through people like Sam O'Mason, who will give it everything, who will fight with pride, who is talented, but...
And you can hear what it means to him.
Oh yeah, listen, I think he's gonna give everything. But what I'm saying is, if Dalton Smith is of the levels that we believe he should be getting to, I'm talking Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez, you know, these great 140-pounders, you've got to be steamrolling through Sam O'Mason. If you struggle against Sam O'Mason, don't expect me to stand up there and start bigging you up, talking about how in 12 months' time you're going to beat Lopez, you're going to beat Ramirez, you're going to beat Prograis and all these guys, because that's what I think he can do.
All right, we're talking about it there, and I love that you said that. And I know you've always been like this anyway, the domestic route, the British, Commonwealth, European. First off, if it all goes well for Dalton Smith and he wins this fight, will he be able to defend that British title? Is there enough challenges out there for him? And what next?
I think it's like, how quick do you want to go? Yeah. Like Casey Benjamin, we just talked about there, he's the mandatory. That's a good fight.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
But also, I think he could go and win European championships now. But I love, you know, activity's key. When you're building someone, you know, you really want to... Saturday's a success and he looks great. Sheffield want him back. So when do you come back? You know, maybe you put him on a big international card, you know, but you really must be headlining back here. Is that against Casey Benjamin? Do you have to step up? Do you take a European title? Do you take a slightly sort of faded name? I don't know, Victor Postol, like one of these guys who, you know, people get excited about. But I love the British Commonwealth European route. I think it's fantastic. You know, I mean, I know you don't like to talk about it, Darren, but that's the route you took as well. But it is nice when you're done and dusted as a British fighter to sit back on a sofa and go, look, there's the Commonwealth, there's the British, there's the European, there's the world, as you do.
What I was about to say is, if anything could happen in boxing, injuries, whatever, a shock defeat, the thing with those titles, if something did go wrong and just your career ended the way you didn't want it to end, at least you can always say, I was British champion, I was European champion. They've got prestige, those belts. No disrespect to the ranking belts.
Yeah, I agree.
They serve their purpose. But you can't go around saying, I was IBF Intercontinental champion. You can go around saying, I was British champ.
But also, it's very difficult to not get blocked by other promoters and fighters to challenge for those domestic titles. Conor Benn was a great example. I really wanted him to fight Chris Jenkins for the British title, and the business wouldn't let us. And when you look back, I'd love Conor to win a British title, but we're beyond that now. But for Dalton to get it is really nice. But I see him at so many levels above the Lonsdale belt. But to pick it up along the way, especially in an all-Sheffield clash in Sheffield, it's kind of like the perfect fight, the perfect platform for him to go on. And it's all on him. Like, we've delivered everything that he's asked us to deliver. He's got to go and shine now.
Yeah, and you mentioned that golden era of the 90s. Ryan Rhodes, of course, and Sam O'Mason's corner was part of that Nassim Hamed supporting cast. And Dalton Smith, as he is to headline big shows in the future, he's going to need a supporting cast. I guess that's why you'll have a close eye on somebody like young Janae Bostan and some of the young talent coming through on the card as well.
Janae Bostan, a lot of people are talking about him. You know, I watched him on the pads yesterday. Looked very, very good. And you know, I love seeing these young fighters. You know, when we're up there doing the first press conference today, I'm looking at all these guys going, how far are you going to go? And it's very difficult to tell at this stage. And it's not just all about talent. You know, it's about mindset, it's about a little bit of luck, it's about momentum, it's about how they develop, because a lot of them are babies still, Junaid and Nico and those kind of guys as well. But like, you're looking at that lot going, someone from that lot is probably going to win a world championship, right? And that's a tough thing. But most of them are going to go on and fight for British, fight for Commonwealth, fight for European titles. Some will fade away into the sunset as this brutal sport, you know, has shown us in the past. So I look at Junaid and Nico a little bit like rough diamonds, you know, not the ones that have been polished in the GB squad and have walked out into, you know, six-figure contracts, fighting 8 times a year. Hungry kids, you know. And sometimes I always remember that I had a meeting with a GB fighter, this is years and years ago, and they pulled up in the office and they were in a convertible Mercedes, right? And I was in my office and I was having a meeting with them. And then when the meeting finished, my dad came over to me and he went, "Who is that?" And I said, "Oh, so-and-so from the GB team." He says, "Is that his Merc outside?" I went, "Yeah, it is." He went, "Excuse my language, he's fucked." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Ed," he said, "when I used to see fighters in my office in Romford, they'd come on the bus, you know, like, and to be a hungry fighter, really, when you see these kids who are just so desperate for the opportunity, they're dangerous. It doesn't mean that the ones that have come through the GB system aren't, and they've earned it, by the way, through excellence in the amateur division. But there's something really enticing to me about a young fighter that gets on that bus, you know, and turns up in the office and says, "I'll do anything for this. You know, this is my life. Whatever it takes, whatever, you know, I am."
Well, you see it a lot with the opponents, don't you? Coming over from South America, they've had it really hard. And you see, you know, the likes of Lara, etc. What it does, one win can do for their careers.
But Junaid Boston, someone that I said, hasn't had that, you know, but everyone talks about him as such a supreme talent. Sometimes those fighters are worth, for me, 5 times more than someone that comes out with a chip on their shoulder and wants this and wants that and wants that. They've got talent. But we're also in this for the journey and to have fun. And there's something about unearthing a young gem against all odds.
And speaking of which, let's talk about Jordan Thompson, because I can remember you came to me, I don't know how long ago, 8 months, 12 months, you said, "Have you heard about this kid?" And I had, of course, but I know a lot about him. It's staggering how little I think the public know about him, given how good he appears to be. Saturday night, if he gets through this in some sort of fashion, we will know that he is a special talent and a danger to this division.
Well, that's why I like this fight so much, because we've seen the knockouts against lesser opposition. He's been doing what he should be doing against those guys, but he's been doing it spectacularly, which is fantastic. Now we see a tougher fight. You know, if he's hype, could lose on Saturday against Vasyl Ducar. And what I said to Ducar up there was, you get thrown in all these fights, right? Billum Smith, Riakporhe, you go the distance in very good competitive fights, but you were taking those fights in your 7th, 8th, 9th fight. I bet he's getting better, Ducar. And like he said, maybe I didn't think I can win there, and he sort of said, maybe one day, and maybe Saturday, I'm going to show that actually I've learned in this game. And I think Jordan Thompson is the real deal. I think he is an exceptional talent. I think you hear it in the gyms, but now we'll see it under the lights. And this is why I love this fight, because we can actually sit back and go, come on then, you know, now it's time to see.
And you were talking about, you know, all going well Saturday, 2023 being his big year. What are the sort of names that you?
All of them. I mean, I don't see, if he's as good as we think he is, he should be fighting Billum Smith. He should be fighting, you know, June. I think so. Like, you know, he's not a spring chicken. No. You know, but he's ready physically. Like, you just have to go through that process. You can't go from where he's been fighting to Billum Smith and those kind of guys, Riakporhe. But I think if you beat someone like Ducar, I mean, if he stops Ducar on Saturday, which would be a very tough task, why not fight Riakporhe a bit? I mean, look at Riakporhe against
fighting him. Is it hard?
I don't think those. Would you want to fight a 6'7", like massive punching cruiserweight? Not really on any watch. No. But you have to make the fights big enough. You know, because this is his first championship fight. Hopefully on Saturday, more people will tune in. More people will start to follow the journey, because he's been knocking people out on Before the Bell. We need to get behind him, give him those, because it's so easy for a fighter to go, "Oh, Jordan Thompson, you know, what's he bringing to the table?" Like, that's the easiest get out in boxing. We need to make the fights big enough, because trust me, Richard Riakporhe against Jordan Thompson is an absolute cracker, as is Chris Billum Smith against Jordan Thompson. But at the moment, those guys will look at Jordan Thompson and go, "Who needs him? I want a world title shot. I want a mandatory position. I'm not fighting this beast." But let's see if he's a beast, because we'll find out on Saturday if he's a beast.
Kieran Conway out on Before the Bell before a big fight against Osadamo Williams, 17th of September. And speaking of which, looking forward to the second half of the year. We know some of the big fights that are in store. What else is in the pipeline for the next 6 months?
Well, obviously there's Conor Benn's fight to be announced next week. You know, there are negotiations ongoing with Chris Eubank Jr. and Watson. I've been there before and it hasn't materialised, but you know, Wasserman control the career of Chris Eubank Jr. with Chris Eubank Jr. and I think Calla understands the size of that fight. It's probably the biggest fight in British boxing at the moment, outside of Fury against Joshua. But we need to move on with the career of Conor Benn, so we'll see if that fight materialises. Lee Wood looks to be defending his championship at the end of September. I'll say it, he wants and we're trying to make Maurizio Lara, which is the most, I mean, ballsy move. You know, Lee Wood turned around to me, and obviously we got the Santa Cruz issue, we've got the Warrington unification potential for next year, and Lee Wood and Ben Davison, particularly Lee Wood, turned around and went, I fancy Maurizio Lara.
Well, no one can complain if that's the fight.
Mate, complain. I mean, it's a massive fight, and like, fair play to him for even considering it. And that's a fight that we're looking at the moment. Then you've got the 3 fighters that we're putting dates in for now, which is of course Joe Cordina defending his world championship, Katie Taylor defending her undisputed championship as well, and Josh Warrington defending his title against his mandatory, the Mexican. It's a very tough fight, guy who stopped Isaac Lowe. And then you've got the ongoing negotiations between Dimitri Bivol and Joshua Buatsi. You've got the Dylan White conversations as well. So this next few days and weeks is all about really cementing the entire schedule from September to December. But a lot to fill in, and we'll find a way. But just really excited, of course, for this Saturday. And, of course, September 17th, Canelo Alvarez against Triple G. And like you said, Kieran Conway against Amo Williams on the card for that. What a chance for him. And I'm really excited about Sandy Ryan against Farias on Saturday as well as a co-main. Like,
seems physically and mentally in a completely different place.
It does, but I feel the pressure. You know, it's like, oh, you turn pro. I said up there, I was at the Commonwealth Games last night. It's so friendly.
Yeah, how was it? Was it good?
Brilliant. I loved it. It was so friendly. You know, all the teams together, because no one's fighting for money. You bring money into sport, and it changes everything. It's like, it just becomes evil.
I was a little bit. They said if you win a gold medal, you go up to the next level of sports.
Exactly.
A little bit of money.
But it's like, you know, if you lose, everyone's gracious, and there's a great feeling. I just feel like Sandy's kind of felt the effects of professional boxing and the ruthlessness of the sport. Like, I've stepped up here in a fight I probably shouldn't be taking. I lost, and I'm just getting unbelievable stick and hate on social media. She's taken herself away from social media. She's in tremendous shape. But I've got to say, this is a really tough fight. Like, Farias will be super confident. She's not going to change. She's all action, 10 rounds. And people talk about, oh, Sandy's got a box in this fight. She's got a box. I'm not so sure. I think that's going to just lend itself to Farias just pouring on the pressure and walking her down. She's going to have to hold her feet and fight, but she's fitter, she's stronger. I didn't mind the way she boxed in the first fight. I just don't think she was very sharp. You know, I don't think she was sharp enough.
Sat in the pocket, loading up too often. She's got to be busy. Farias is very, very busy. You've got to match her for work rate. I think stop looking for the single shots and double up, triple up. And I think if she can do that, I think she'll learn loads from that first fight.
But it's the brutality, Darren, isn't it, of saying, like, some say her career's on the line on Saturday. She had 3 fights. You know?
Well, she thought it was.
But people will say, you know, oh, if you lose this, you're done. Like, I feel like there's a real problem just in general with the mindset of sometimes people in the country, but fight fans of like, why can't we just applaud her for taking the first fight and jumping straight back into the rematch rather than going, well, if you lose this. It's always like glass half empty, isn't it? Well, let's be a bit more positive and say good on her. She's got stick. She was a little bit mouthy in the early stages of her career. She's learned from that. She's locked herself away. She's given her heart and soul for 12 weeks. Let's get behind her. And if she wins, she's going to go on and probably fight for the World Championship. So I really hope she does it.
Cheers, Ed. Lots covered there, and lots to cover on Saturday night. 11 fights on the bill, £240 clash between Sandy Ryan and Erica Farias, and of course the Lonsdale belt at super lightweight between Dalton Smith and Sam Amazing. An all Sheffield clash topped by a stellar undercard of fighters as well. We'll see them all weigh in 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Join us then on Matching Boxing social media. Thanks for your company this afternoon.
7 or 9 for the Sheffield fighter. He's one of the very best prospects in British boxing.
Here is the celebrated and highly decorated British amateur sensation.
His reactions and his timing looks impeccable.
Wow. Terrific variety and accuracy.
He looks something else, doesn't he?
Dalton Smith, you can see what the fuss is about.
Left hook, and there is the right hand over the top.
The uppercut into play there, and does land the right hand.
His first opportunity to peel off the label prospect and replace it with one which reads contender.